History, they say, is written on land and at sea, but during the most tense years of the Cold War, as the world held its breath on the brink of nuclear apocalypse, the Soviet Union was forging something that belonged to neither realm. It was a phantom born in secret design bureaus, a hybrid of a ship and an airplane that roared in defiance of the very laws of physics. In 1967, an American spy satellite passing over the Caspian Sea captured an image that plunged CIA analysts into a state of shock. In the photo, amidst the gray ripples of the water, sat a colossal, never-before-seen object. Too large to be a plane, yet it had massive wings. Too fast for a ship, yet it had a fuselage instead of a hull. A row of 10 jet engines lined its back, and a red star adorned its tail. In classified reports, it was given a name filled with fear and bewilderment: the Caspian Monster. What was this machine? A doomsday weapon, capable of delivering a nuclear warhead to any point on the planet while remaining invisible to radar. Or something even more sinister, this was more than just a machine. It was a challenge hurled at America, the embodiment of engineering genius in a desperate arms race, a phantom of a future that, thankfully, never came to be. Before we dive into the main story, we'd like to ask for a little support. A like and a subscription would be the best way to show your appreciation. Thank you. Now, get ready, as we dive into a world of secret technologies and giant machines to uncover the mystery of the most incredible creation of the Soviet military industry. The mystery surrounding the Caspian Monster did not unravel overnight. For decades, the West could only speculate about its true purpose. It was only after the fall of the Iron Curtain that the world learned the truth. It was neither a plane nor a ship. It was an Ekranoplan, a machine that used the ground effect for flight. Imagine creating an air cushion under a wing so dense that it prevents a massive machine from falling into the water. An Ekranoplan doesn't fly in the sky. It glides just a few meters above the surface, be it water, ice, or flat plains riding. On this invisible, dynamic cushion of air, it combined the colossal payload of a ship with the incredible speed of an aircraft. And the father of this marvel was one of the most brilliant, yet most secretive, designers of the Soviet Union. He was obsessed with speed. Back in the 1940s, he had created revolutionary hydrofoils, the famous Rakata and Media, which seemed like science fiction at the time. But Alexeyev dreamed bigger. He wanted to make not just small passenger boats fly, but entire ships capable of carrying tanks, troops, and missiles at the speed of a fighter jet. In the climate of the Cold War, his ideas found support at the highest levels. The Soviet Union, with its endless maritime borders and remote garrisons, needed a weapon that could instantly deploy entire battalions across seas. A weapon that could deliver a sudden, devastating strike against an enemy fleet, appearing as if from nowhere. And the Ekranoplan was the perfect solution. It was virtually invisible to ship-based sonar because it never touched the water, and it flew too low to be detected by standard air defense radars, which were calibrated to search for high-altitude targets. It was the perfect predator, a phantom killer, and the Caspian Monster was to be its first incarnation. The very monster that had so terrified the CIA was an experimental prototype known as the Korabal Makit. But the word prototype is misleading. At the time, it was the largest and heaviest flying machine on the planet. Its dimensions were staggering. Its length was nearly 100 meters, the size of a football field. Its wingspan was 40 meters. Its weight was 544 tons. To lift this leviathan into the air, Alexeyev fitted it with 10 turbojet engines. 8 were mounted on pylons ahead of the wings. Their job was not only to provide thrust, but also to blow air under the wings during takeoff, helping to create that life-saving air cushion. 2 more engines were on the tail, like on an airliner, and operated during cruise mode. The KM's first flight in 1966 became the stuff of legend. The entire top brass of the Navy and the Ministry of Defense came to witness the tests at a secret base on the Caspian Sea. Many didn't believe this clumsy mountain of metal could ever lift off the water. Alexeyev himself took the controls. He slowly throttled the engines to full power. 10 fiery torches unleashed a roar that seemed to shake the entire coastline. The KM began its takeoff run, kicking up a giant wall of spray. Then, to the astonishment of everyone present, it lifted off the water and hurtled across the sea's surface at incredible speed, leaving only a wide, foamy wake behind it. It was flying. This half-a-thousand-ton monster was flying at over 400 kilometers per hour. For ships of that era, this was an absolutely unimaginable speed. It could cross the Caspian Sea from end to end in just an hour. For the military, this opened up mind-boggling possibilities. Amphibious assaults that once took days could now be conducted in a matter of hours. A column of tanks could be unloaded on an enemy shore before the adversary even had time to sound the alarm. The KM's testing continued for nearly 15 years. It proved the concept's viability, but it was only the first step, a giant flying laboratory. Based on its design, Alexeyev and his bureau began creating true combat machines, even more advanced and deadly. The first production combat Ekranoplan was to be the aim. If the KM was a heavy bomber, the Ulyanok was a tactical transport. It was smaller than its predecessor but possessed a unique ability. Thanks to a combination of landing gear and a powerful nose-mounted engine, it could not only fly over water but also crawl onto an unprepared shore on its own, like a giant sea monster. Picture this. A squadron of these machines emerges from the sea mist at 400 kilometers per hour, each one rolling onto the beach and from its hinged nose, unloading 2 armored personnel carriers or up to 200 Marines. It would have been a new generation of blitz. A total of 5 Ekranoplan were built, and they even entered service with the Baltic and Caspian fleets. But the true apotheosis of the idea was another project. The Project 903 Lun, missile carrying Ekranoplan. This was a weapon of retribution, a true aircraft carrier killer. The Lun was slightly smaller than the KM, but its appearance was even more menacing and functional. 8 powerful turbojet engines like the Monsters allowed it to reach speeds of over 500 kilometers per hour, but its main armament was located on its back. 6 giant launch tubes, each housing a P-270 Moscow supersonic anti-ship missile. NATO called it the Sunbomb. This missile flew towards its target at extremely low altitude, at 3 times the speed of sound, carrying a 320-kilogram warhead capable of tearing a hole in any ship. Its strategy for deployment was simple and terrifying. A squadron of Luns, hiding from radar below the horizon, would approach a U.S. carrier strike group at full speed. At the right moment, they would perform a pop-up maneuver, a sharp, brief ascent to activate their radars, acquire their targets, and unleash a simultaneous salvo of dozens of musket missiles. The U.S. Navy would have had virtually no chance of repelling such an attack. Missiles traveling at Mach 3 just meters above the waves were nearly invulnerable to the air defense systems of the time. A single Lun could destroy or disable an entire fleet with one salvo. It was an asymmetric response designed to nullify America's overwhelming advantage in aircraft carriers. It seemed the future belonged to these giant machines. There were plans to build an entire fleet of Luns, and all other projects were also in development. A Ekranoplan version for Arctic rescue operations, and even passenger models capable of transporting hundreds of people between cities faster than an airplane. But this futuristic dream shattered against the harsh rocks of reality. In 1980, during another test, the original Caspian Monster, the first and largest, crashed and sank due to pilot error. That same year, Rostislav Alexeyev, the driving force and soul of the entire program, died from injuries sustained while testing a new craft. Shortly thereafter, his main patron in the government, Minister of Defense, Dmitry Ustanov, also passed away. The program lost its founding fathers. The new military officials viewed these incredibly expensive and complex machines with skepticism. They preferred to invest vast sums into projects they understood better: nuclear submarines and intercontinental ballistic missiles. And then came the 1990s. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, funding for the unique program was cut off entirely. The unfinished hulls of Luns and Orionic's were cut up for scrap metal. The only completed and operational Lun, the carrier killer itself, languished for decades, rusting at a secret base in Caspian until 2020, when it was dragged ashore near the city of Deban to become the centerpiece of a future Patria Park. Today, it lies on a sandy beach, solitary, majestic, and sorrowful. A giant steel titan washed ashore by the tides of history, a monument to an unfulfilled dream of a fleet of winged ships. And so, the story of the Soviet Ekranoplans came to an end. Were they an evolutionary dead end, or a brilliant breakthrough far ahead of its time? Today, as technology allows for more efficient engines and lightweight composite materials, engineers around the world in the US, China, and Iran are revisiting the idea of the Perhaps we will yet see these phantom machines, gliding between sky and water, return to change the world. But for now, the lone Lun on the Caspian shore remains a silent witness to colossal ambition, incredible engineering genius, and that insane era when 2 superpowers were willing to build a monster just to prove their supremacy. Your support, a like, and a subscription are very important to us. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay up to date and never miss our new videos.